What are the color codes on an aircraft carrier? On an aircraft carrier flight deck, specialized crew are employed for the different roles utilized in managing air operations. The different flight deck crews wear colored jerseys to visually distinguish their functions. Modern United States Navy aircraft carrier air operations include the operation of fixed-wing and rotary aircraft on and around an aircraft carrier for performance of combat or non-combat missions. The flight operations are highly evolved, based on experiences dating back to 1922 with USS Langley. The U.S. Navy has a system of color coordinating the roles of different crew members by their helmets, jackets and vests, so there is no question who is supposed to be doing what. The U.S. Navy has a system of color coordinating the roles of different crew members, who assist in the taking off and landing of planes on the decks of aircraft carriers. Because it can be dangerous dealing with so many moving parts in the process, the Navy has categorized jobs into 7 different colors: purple, blue, green, yellow, red, brown and white. Though some colors symbolize several jobs, the categories help operations to run smoothly in the high-pressure environment of an active aircraft carrier. In this video, we are going to examine what do the different colors on an aircraft carrier mean. Everyone associated with the flight deck has a specific job, which is indicated by the color of his or her deck jersey, float coat and helmet. Rank is also denoted by the pattern of trousers worn by flight deck crew. Navy blue pants denotes junior sailors and petty officers. Khaki pants denotes chief petty, warrant and commissioned officers. This keeps in line with the traditional khaki color of CPO and officer service uniforms. Aircraft carriers are the largest warships on the seas, and are frequently the flagships for fleets. It is a warship that serves as a seagoing airbase, equipped with a full-length flight deck, and facilities for carrying, arming, deploying, and recovering aircraft. As of February 2022, there are 47 active aircraft carriers in the world operated by 14 navies. The United States Navy has 11 large nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, the largest carriers in the world. The U.S. Navy has 9 amphibious assault ships used primarily for helicopters. The remainder of the carriers are run by 12 other navies around the world. According to Foxtrot Alpha, the U.S. Navy's color system is similar to systems on other carriers operated by other navies. What is a yellow shirt on an aircraft carrier? These are aircraft handling, catapult, and arresting gear officers. They are responsible for all movement of all aircraft on the flight hangar deck. The aircraft handling officer are in charge of directing the movement of the entire flight deck. They determine the jet launch sequence. They ensure all aircraft are ready to be recovered, and they decide where they go and how they get there. Every performance needs a choreographer. The dance on the deck of an aircraft carrier, happening live every day and night, is no different. Catapult officer, also known as shooters. Catapult officers are naval aviators or naval flight officers, and are responsible for all aspects of catapult maintenance and operation. They ensure that wind, direction and speed is sufficient over the deck, and that the steam settings for the catapults will ensure that aircraft have sufficient flying speed at the end of the stroke. They are also responsible for signaling to the pilot that he or she may take off. Aircraft directors, as their name implies, are responsible for directing all aircraft movement on the hangar and flight decks. They are enlisted aviation boatswain's mates. They are colloquially known as bears, and those who work in the hangar go by the term hangar rats. On some carriers, commissioned officers known as flight deck officers also serve as aircraft directors. During flight operations or during a flight deck respot, typically about 12-15 yellow shirts are on the flight deck, and they report directly to the handler. Although aircraft directors are often used at airports ashore, their function is particularly crucial in the confined flight deck environment, where aircraft are routinely taxied within inches of one another, often with the ship rolling and pitching beneath. Directors wear yellow and use a complex set of hand signals, lighted yellow once at night, to direct aircraft. Also known as the air boss, the air officer, along with his assistant, the mini boss, is responsible for all aspects of operations involving aircraft, including the hangar deck, the flight deck, and airborne aircraft, out to 5 nautical miles from the carrier. From his perch in primary flight control, PRIFLY, or the tower, he, along with his assistant, maintains visual control of all aircraft operating in the carrier control zone. An aircraft desiring to operate within the control zone must obtain his approval prior to entry. This officer is typically a commander and is normally a former CVW squadron commander selected for promotion to captain. The normal working jersey color of an air boss is yellow, but an air boss may wear any color jersey he pleases, as he represents everyone working on the flight deck, hangar bay, and aviation fuels personnel. What do purple shirts do on an aircraft carrier? They are aviation fuel handlers. They operate motorized gear such as tractors and forklifts, chalk and chain aircraft to the flight deck, and operate aircraft elevators, affectionately referred to as grapes or fueles. Purple shirts refuel all aircraft and monitor all fuel on board. A Navy aircraft carrier can hold over 1 million gallons of fuel, or the approximate equivalent of 2 Olympic swimming pools. They keep aircraft in the sky and the Navy's engines running no matter the mission. They are also known as an aviation boatswain's mate. What do the green shirts do on an aircraft carrier? These are catapult and arresting gear crew. One of the most difficult and dangerous jobs on deck are taken on by the crewmen wearing green. Those jobs include the crew who maintain catapult and arresting gear on the ship and hook runners, who ensure wires on the ship end up where they need to be. An arresting gear is a mechanical system used to rapidly decelerate an aircraft as it lands. Arresting gear on aircraft carriers is an essential component of naval aviation, and it is most commonly used on Catobra and Stober aircraft carriers. Similar systems are also found at land-based airfields for expeditionary or emergency use. Typical systems consist of several steel wire ropes laid across the aircraft landing area, designed to be caught by an aircraft's tailhook. During a normal arrestment, the tailhook engages the wire and the aircraft's kinetic energy is transferred to hydraulic damping systems attached below the carrier deck. There are other related systems which use nets to catch aircraft wings or landing gear. These barricade and barrier systems are only used for emergency arrestments for aircraft without operable tailhooks. What do red shirts do on an aircraft carrier? Everyone wearing a red jersey is an ordnanceman or ordnance handler, which means they handle the aircraft's bullets, bombs, missiles, and rockets on the flight deck. Crash and salvage crews also wear red jerseys and work alongside those wearing silver protective suits. Their also duties include the stowing, issuing, and loading of munitions and small arms. There are 3 different types of ordnancemen: organizational level, intermediate level, and depot level. Organizational level ordnancemen are attached to squadrons ashore and afloat. They perform loading-downloading operations on aircraft. Intermediate level perform maintenance on bomb racks, missile launchers, and all other aircraft armament components, as well as store, inventory, issue, and assemble all ordnance. Aviation Ordnanceman School is currently held at Pensacola Naval Air Station, in Florida, by the Naval Air Technical Training Center. Aviation Ordnanceman training is approximately 5 weeks long. At Aviation Ordnanceman School, subjects are taught basic aviation theory and skills, along with electronic troubleshooting. To become an aviation ordnanceman, one must have color perception and 20/20ths vision, or have their vision correctable to 20/20ths. While some aviation ordnanceman tasks require a secret security clearance, all ordnancemen must be eligible for the clearance. The crew who wear red include those who handle the plane's weapons by moving, mounting and arming the aircraft, according to Foxtrot Alpha, which can sometimes mean moving 500-pound missiles on their shoulders to get it to the right plane. What do blue shirts do on an aircraft carrier? They are trainee plane handler. Blue shirts are the most predominant crew on the flight deck. They operate motorized gear such as tractors and forklifts, chalk and chain aircraft to the flight deck, and operate aircraft elevators. Those who wear blue are directed by those who wear yellow to handle the planes and operate aircraft elevators and tractors, and to pass along messages to other crew. Most of the work in this rating is performed outdoors on the flight decks of amphibious and aircraft carriers, in all climates and conditions, including hazardous environments. The work is fast-paced, and ABs typically work closely with others in aviation ratings. They will not spend their entire career at sea, but may also work with an aircraft squadron during a shore-duty rotation. What do white shirts do on an aircraft carrier? Also known as brake riders, they man the cockpit during repositioning on the flight deck and hangar deck. White shirts consist of safety and medical personnel, catapult final checkers and catapult and arresting gear quality assurance inspectors, and administrative personnel. White shirts are worn by a fairly wide mix of deck crew. These include many quality and safety observers, such as air wing quality control personnel, individual squadron plane inspectors, and safety observers. Yet probably most well-known white shirt wearers are landing signal officers, LSOs, who help talk down approaching aircraft, while also making sure the deck is clear for their arrival. The LSOs are sourced from each squadron in the air wing, and are usually pilots with historically high landing scores themselves. White shirts are also worn by air transfer officers, who are responsible for the handling and conveyance of all mail, cargo and passengers arriving via C-2 Greyhound carrier on-board delivery, COD, aircraft and helicopters. When VIPs or media are being escorted on the deck, they also wear white. Crews who provide liquid oxygen to aircraft and medical personnel are also assigned white tops. The methods used today by deck crews have been honed over a century of naval aviation, and the US is not